We're gonna try and beat it.
Recording in progress.
By the way, it takes.
Okay, recording get started.
All right, good morning, everybody. Shkech for Levi for taking over. Going over the different sugyas of Bittul.
Okay.
So, I turned the wrong page. So today's Daf Lamed Daled. Maseches Gidel. So we are like 6 lines in the top.
Almost Alan.
Lamed Daled.
Oh, Lam.
34.
You do.
Gidel. So Gidel bar Eloi Shodele Gidel Vesil. So he sent a get to his wife, and the shliach shlicho ashke. So the shliach went and he found her. Davi Yosfa, so she was sitting there. So Amarla Hagitech. So he told her, "Hey, here's your get." So she has to be makabelet. So Amarla Zil Hashtemiya v'Salam Lamacha. So come back, give it to me tomorrow. So Azal Agabe, so we went back to the Mishaleach. Amarla Pasach. So he said. Basically, thank Hashem that she didn't take it. So you can make the statement of Baruch Atov Meitiv. However, the get is not nullified. The get is still valid, even though he appeared to be happy that the get was not delivered, and basically showing that he didn't really want to divorce her. Nevertheless, the get is not batal, and therefore, if when the get is delivered the next day, it would be a valid get. And Rav Omar, Baruch Hatov Meitiv, Ubito Gita, a statement of Baruch Hatov Meitiv, like thank God, okay, you didn't give it to her. It does show his Lamed Daled, does show his wanting for the get not to be. Shows the get not want to be given, and therefore the get is nullified. So by comiflagi, what's the machlokes of here? So begilu daita begita comiflagi. It's machlokes and gilu das. In other words, there's one thing if a person who sends the get and he comes back to the shech and says, "Hey, I want to go ahead and batal and revoke this get. Therefore, it's not a get." Right? But it's another thing. Let's say he doesn't say it; he just shows that really he doesn't want the get to work. So that's machlokes.
How does he show it?
By saying, "Oh, you didn't give it to her." Oh, thank God. So that's showing it. He didn't say, "I'm nullifying this get." He said, "Oh, you didn't give it to her." Oh, whew. Good one. Now, so what's the machlokes? Is it the Bais The Bais says no. If you didn't say it, and you just, even though it might appear that you want to, right? Maybe megaladas that you didn't want it to work. That is not considered to be revoking it. And it is considered to be is something. And therefore, the get is revoked. And Rava says, from where I know this, any examples? So there's a case of the Rav Sheshes Ashley Gitala Gavra. So basically, extracted. He got a guy to go ahead and give a get balkarche against his will. From the Sahadi Hakim Rav Sheshes, and the husband, basically told the witnesses that Rav Sheshes canceled this get. So Rav Sheshes the Bata Gita. And then basically showing that he's like, oh, Rav Sheshes is canceled, basically showing that he really didn't want to get, so he sort of like made up a lie, right? And therefore, okay, so we're not going to give it, right? And then Rav Sheshes required another get to be written again. So you see over here that since he didn't say the get is batal, he just basically showed that he didn't want the get to work by saying that Rav Sheshes was mabatal the get. So therefore, Rav Sheshes required another get. So he's megala das that he didn't want the get to be working, therefore another get had to be written.
Wait, does she accept it on the second day?
Which case? Which case?
Different get.
What do you mean?
All these.
There's different cases.
With
There's no second day on the only that was last
that
time.
first one.
Yeah, the first one. So that was right. So that was the machlokes. Even if she accepted, does that revoke it or not? Abaye says it was never revoked, therefore it's a get. Well, and therefore it's a get. And Rava says even if she accepted it the next day, it wouldn't be a good get because according to Rava, by the husband showing he was happy that it wasn't delivered yet, he's being megala das that he does not approve of the get, and therefore, if you want to go ahead and divorce, you have to go ahead and rewrite it. So, how would Abaye interpret this case to sort of deflect it? Right? The Abaye Atur Rav Sheshes mevatel gita. So Atur Rav Sheshes mevatel gita. The Inshi Avi. Right? Rav Sheshes was one who's mevatel gita. In that case, right? He is the husband revoked it. He basically used the lashon. He was the one who revoked it. Right? Bahai, the Kamar Lahu Haki, and the reason why he said, "Oh, Rav Sheshes revoked it," not that he revoked it, but really he revoked it. Is Mishum Defnuyi, right? Because he was scared that the guys would beat him, from the Rav Sheshes. He knew some the Chapsen, right? He knew the guys who would go ahead and give a beat down to the husband. So he blamed Rav Sheshes. Rabbi says, how do I know that be Megaladas is nothing? Rav Yehuda Ashkele Gita the Chas and Rabbi Yirmiyah. So Rav Yehuda, he got the son-in-law of Rabbi Yirmiyah to go ahead and give a get. Ubatle, and he was Mavatlet. Satana Ashkele. Then he said, okay, he took another one. Ubatle, then he once again the husband revoked it. And Hadar Tana Ashkele al Karche, he says, okay, write another get, husband. V'yamar Lulasad, and he told the witnesses, right? So go ahead, plug your ears, so you don't hear the husband say anything anymore, and go give the get. In other words, what was the problem the whole time, right? So let's say I would, Rami uses it as an example. So I made Rami go ahead and give a get, and as he gives it, he says, I'm revoking it. So I said, okay, write it again. So he writes the get, gives it, then gives it shliach, and Rami says, I'm revoking it, and then it's revoked. So then I tell the witnesses, close your ears, so you won't be able to hear him say, I revoke it anymore. And if you think just showing that you don't want it, not just saying it, but showing it, they're going to see Avrami running after them. So even if they can't hear him say, it's batal, he's just going like this, right? They don't hear it, but he's showing that he doesn't want it. So showing you doesn't, so what was the point of clogging your ears? It must be that clogging your ears would prevent you from hearing the bittul, and therefore, right, it was not revoked in front of the shlichim. So the Rabba hide the right. That's right. Right. She says, no, Abraham would say, no. The reason why I was chasing after him is could have been because Yoel kept on beating me, making sure I give the get. So therefore, I wanted to make sure the witnesses were, these guys were delivering the get. So therefore, you can't interpret they're running after the shlichim, right? Is megaladas that he does not want the get to work. Go ahead, the tsar that they were invoking on that husband. The Rabbi says, I have another case. The guy says, hey, if I don't come back to our house within 30 days, then here's your get, and we are divorced. So he's planning it out. He's playing it cool. I'm going to come back last minute. So also, he came back a day 30, and all of a sudden the bridge is out. It's overflowed the bridge. He can't get across, and he's right on the other side of the river. He's waiting. Hey, I'm over here. It's not considered he returned home after 30 days. The condition was he has to return home, and therefore the condition was never met, and therefore they are divorced. So what do you see over there? According to Abaye, even though he's saying, hey, I'm over here, I don't want it to be a get, right? Nevertheless, the get works.
That's the Is that a difference in this case? It's because here he actually verbally said what he didn't do what he actually said.
So Rabba is going to basically very right. So Rabba Atu Hasan Lebuta Gita boy awesome. The came in tonight boy over there. He's not coming to say, hey, I don't want the get to work. He's talking about the condition. I'm here. I'm back. In other words, he's not arguing. I'm revoking the get. Right. I'm not revoking. I'm saying I fulfilled the condition. That's what he's saying. Hey, I'm over here. I'm on the other side of the river, but I returned home. Right. I came back from overseas. I just the bridge is out, so I'm back. And nevertheless, it doesn't work. And nevertheless, the condition was not fulfilled. That's why it doesn't work. How do you similar case? The guy says, okay, I'm gonna first I'm gonna betroth you, I'm gonna marry you. She's like, no, I don't trust you. He says, okay, I'm gonna betroth you now, and if I don't marry you within 30 days, here's your get. All right, now you can trust me. So of course, 30 days came. Yeah, you're right. We didn't get married yet, but look, I just paid for the caterer. I paid for this. Everything is going on, right? So I was batriach. So the Gemara says, why should we think that this is not a get? So if it's because he tried but he couldn't do it, we hold Einos Megidin, right? We don't say, it wasn't a mistake. If the condition wasn't filled to Gittin, even if it was against his control or whatever it was, doesn't make a difference. Einos Megidin, that's a rule. So even if it's because he's Megaladas, So the Gita hooks at the Abai Rabba. So that's the machlokes bin Abai Rabba. And over here, he wasn't even saying that I don't want the get. He's just saying I fulfilled the condition. And even in this case, they would agree that the condition was not fulfilled, and therefore the get would be good. And how the Amarlu, similar case, if I don't marry you by similar because you just had before, if I don't marry you by Rosh Chodesh Adar, they have a Gita, Rosh Chodesh Adar, it will be a get. So Kimata Rosh Chodesh Yarchi the Adar, all of a sudden Rosh Chodesh Adar came around. He was not ready to marry her yet. So no, the Nisan. No, didn't I say Nisan? Right, that wasn't that the condition. So So what do you mean? Why should you think that the get does not work? Imishim Einis. It's because of the Einis. In other words, he literally thought it was Nisan, but he had the wrong day. Ain't honest begin. Then there's no honest begin, right? And Imishum Gili Daita. And if it's because of Migivadas, so as we say, it looks at the Baivarava, right? That's because going to buy Rava. It's only when he's being Nevato the get. Right? Would Rava say that we look at the Megal Das, but not this case. And finally, after all these Gemaras we had, the Hilchasa Kanachman, the halakha was like the last two cases we saw the previous yesterday. The halakha was like Nachman, Rav Nachman, regarding a case of all you need to do is be mavato in front of two and not three people. Right? You don't need a basin; you can do two people. Right? The halakha was like a Nachman, the halakha was like a Nachman who paskin like Rebbe. And then the Machlokes says whether even with a takana person revokes it, it's still revoked. And even though he said, right, right, and then also the other case we said that person go ahead, he has 10 people be a shliach, he can go ahead and revoke some of them, right? So that all works. And the Allah is over here like Abaye that Igla Milsa, right? That even though we see the husband's intentions, if he doesn't revoke it verbally and says, I revoke this get, then the get is not revoked. Fine. Naya Mishnah at the top of the page. Yeah. So Bishon Hayu Nishana Shemo Shema. And Shemira. In the beginning, they would change the name, right? Usually needs to change, but they would only basically write the name that he was. Let's say he goes by different names. I go by Yoel, I go by Jeremy, right? So let's say I'm in the town of Chicago, I go by Yoel. In the town of East Moline, I go by Jeremy, right? So and Rebbe, right? So I go by Rebbe here, right? So let's say I'm in Chicago. So let's say the get is written in Chicago. So over there they wrote. They wrote by the name where he goes in the town, and even though it's going to be delivered in another town where he goes by a different name, in East Moline, nevertheless it would say Yoel and not Jeremy. But also even the name of the town, if the town was called by different names, different places, nevertheless, right? So they would go ahead and deliver, right? They would call it Israel, they call it Palestine, even though it's not a city, right? Fine. So
once he wrote in one town and she was there, we got to deliver to her.
So over there in the beginning, they would just write the town wherever it was written, whatever people would go by in this town, even though it was delivered in another town where it's going by different names, they would have to basically figure it out and say, okay, this is what this is who it is. So he's getting after that was in the beginning. So it got too confusing. He's getting Rabbi Gamliel Zaken, Sheyek Kaisef, Ish Ploni, B'chol Shum Shem Sheishla, and Ish Plonis, B'chol Shum Sheishla. Right, and so then they wrote, then they read the name and any other name alias he goes by, right? Right, Yoel and an alias, this one an alias, because so therefore everybody would know that who this person was going by. Zak the Gemara and Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Shalchlo le bnei Medina Siyam le Rav Gamliel. So then people Bnei Siyam to Rav Gamliel, Bnei Adam Haboy Misham, someone comes from over there. Account over here to Medina Siyam. Let's say Shmuel Yosef, come Yochanan, say his name is Yosef, but he goes by Yochanan, or Yochanan because of Yosef, or vice versa. He goes, his name is Yochanan, he goes by Yosef. How do they go ahead and divorce their wives? So Amar and Gamliel, he's getting Shayu Kaisvin Ishplani v'chol Shum Sheishla, right? They write one name, right? Yochanan and any other alias, or Isha Plainis v'chol Shum Sheisha, and her name and whatever other alias she goes by. So therefore, everyone can be able to identify the individuals. And Amar Rav Ashi, who is Chazek betray Shema. It's only basically if he goes by both names. If it's like it's not just one or two people go by 1 or 2 people, then that's not a big deal, right? It's only if a lot of people know him by this name.
But the people of that city where the woman is would think still it's another name because you have 2 names. One, yes, and the other one.
Well, they didn't know.
So it's still a question.
Right. It's right. So therefore, you have to list them both. When it was chazik, basically that it's known to many that he goes by two different names. That's when he lists the two names. If
Also known as
right.
AKA.
And Omer Le,
Not necessarily a pet name that's only used by members
No,
of the family.
correct. So Amar Le Rabbi Abba Rabashi says Rabbi Abba says Rabashi says Rabbi Mari Rabbi Elazar coming Kavasech. They also hold like you that it's only is chazik. And Tani Kavasech Rabashi, we actually have a Bryce in support. That's only when is chazik that he has two names. That's when they're both listed. Why? Achas Behuda ve'achas Begala. Very wise, smart man. He had two wives, one in Yehuda, one in Galil. V'lo shnei shemos, and he had two different names, right? Echad Behuda, v'achad Begala, right? And one name he went by Yehuda, right, when he was living with one woman, and another in Galil was his other wife, he went by another name. The Girish Ashishta B'Shevihuda B'Shmo B'Shmo Shevihuda B'Asisha B'Shevigala B'Shmo Shevigala. And then when he said, you know what, I'm going to be single, and he divorced his wife, only listing his name to his wife in Yehuda by the name that he went by in Yehuda, and he divorced his wife in the Galil with the name that he only went by in the Galil. Eina Migareshes ad Shigaris as Ishta Shevihuda B'Shmo Shevihuda B'Shmo Shevigalil Imo. B'Asisha Shevigalil B'Shmo Shevigalil B'Shem Yehuda Imo. He is not divorced unless when divorcing his wife in Yehuda, he lists both his name he has in Yehuda and in the Galil. And he can't divorce his wife in the Galil unless he lists both his name over there, his name in the Galil, and also his name that he goes by in Yehuda. However, if he went to, let's say, another place, the Girish Bechabim, he used one of the names, Megurashes, that he's divorced. Says, what are we talking about? Iva Marta, Shem the Galil. You can't just have Shem Yehuda. You need Shem Yehuda v'Shem Galil with it. How could you go ahead and answer these two brises? Ella must be Shvamina. Hadis Chazek, when it's Chazek, and that was when it's known, it's a well-known thing in both towns, so therefore you have to list them both. But in the second case, when he wasn't well listed, so therefore he only writes the one name, so therefore that would be sufficient. And Hadis Chazek Shvamina, indeed learn from there. And Haudavi Karela Miriam, there's a woman who called her Miriam, who pours the Sarah, and some people, very few called her Sarah. Ari Nahardia, she said Nahardia, Miriam, V'chol Shum Sheyeshla, she's right in the get, Miriam, and any other alias she has in her names, V'lo, Sarah, and not use the minority name, V'chol Shum Sheyeshla, right? So that wouldn't work. You have to use the main name and any alias, and not the minority name and any alias. So you should only use the main name and not the minority one. Fine.
In other words, you can't just say a blanket statement of any other name that she's known by.
Correct.
You have to actually spell it out.
You have to use the main name, and then right. Even if you
And
right.
you'd have to spell out all the other names.
No, you can say V'chol Shum Sheyeshla.
What?
You can say V'chol Shum She, any other name. she
Oh,
has.
really?
But you have to list the main name. You can't
You
use
have
a
to list
minority
the
name
name.
and say any other name. You have to use the main name
Right.
and any other. Everything. Yeah. I mean, they go by like every chumah today. You know, so, yeah, I think they list everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Mishnah.
spell it out.
So Mishnah says, "Ein almana." As like the Mishnah, Mishnah ein almana nifreis b'nichse yisayim ela b'shvua. An almana, so a man passes away, leaves over children, a widow. So now the orphans, they inherit the estate. However, the almana, the widow, eats from the estate. However, she only takes ein almana nifreis b'nichse. Sometimes she can't go ahead and collect from the nichse from the property of the Yisayim, ela b'shvua, but only with a shvua, basically that perhaps maybe she, took money or whatever it was, let's say her ksuba, right, that she took it from other monies, so she has to basically swear, I didn't go ahead and collect my ksuba, so I'm taking it from these properties. So nimnum lashvia, however, based on stopped them from making the shvua, we'll soon see why, and therefore they weren't being able to go ahead and collect. So he's going to go. They can go ahead and says, okay, you know what? Make a nether that, hey, I didn't go ahead and take my ksuba somewhere else, and if I did, let this property or whatever it is be completely usher to me. So the base they would have let her make shvuas. However, then they Rabbi Gamliel instituted that she should make the dara. Right, we'll have to see what's going on over there in the Gemara. And furthermore, other takanas which we've actually seen before, ha'edim chaisman ala get mipnei tikkun ha'olam, witnesses signed to a get, right? We know, therefore, there, if there's to get confirmation, you can go ahead and find the witnesses, not just that people witness the giving of the get, but rather even signing on the get. And the Hilla, he's getting Prusbel mipnei tikkun ha'olam. And Hilla was masakin at Prusbel, right? The document which is used to collect for over Shemitah, so that also he instituted that because of Tikkun Olam for ways of the world. Zak the Gemara, so Ma'ir Almana. Why is it just saying Almana has to go ahead and make a shvua in order to collect? Afilu Kuli Almanami, right? Everybody, if they want to collect for property of orphans, they have to go ahead and make a shvua. The Kaim Alon, Habal if I mean say one who goes ahead and collects some orphans, right? So or somebody who basically they inherited it, so they have to make a shvua. Why is that? Because the children of the deceased don't necessarily know what business dealings, right, their father had, and if that's the case, maybe this person already collected the loan. So therefore, if you're coming to go ahead and collect from somebody who inherited land, you have to go ahead and make a shvua. And Almana, so Gemara says, so why do you have to say Almana in our Mishnah? It could be anybody. The Gemara says, no, Almana is strictly, let's make Chiddush. So good. I mean, you might have thought, because that we want, right, the women to go ahead and be able to get married. And they'll say, hey, if I don't be able to go ahead and collect my ksuba, all right, I'm not going to get married. So therefore, maybe we were more makil by an almana that she can go ahead and collect it without making a shvua. So Kamash Malan, that even with them, initially they have to go ahead and make a shvua in order to go ahead and collect their ksuba. All right, we'll stop here. So Hashem, also Rosh Chodesh, we'll continue 6:15.